Hello everyone, welcome to Literature Prep with me. In today's video, we'll practice 40 of the most important MCQs from Unit 9 and 10 for MPPSC Assistant Professor and UGC NET English. The remaining units are already available on my channel. You can practice and improve your scores. Let's get started with the first question. What term describes a language variety associated with a particular social class, occupation, or group rather than a geographical region? And the answer is sociolect. A sociolect is a speech, habit, or language variety shared by a social group, class, or subculture. Sociolinguistics distinguishes between regional dialects, geography, sociolects, social stratification, idiolects, individual speech, and registers, contextual style. Next question. How many pure vowel sounds, monophthongs, are there in received pronunciation of English? And the answer is 12. Standard British English comprises 44 distinct phonemes, 12 monophthongs, 8 diphthongs, and total 20 vowels and 24 consonants. Remember this: 44 distinct phonemes, 12 monophthongs, 8 diphthongs, and total 20 vowels and 24 consonants. Phonetics and phonology study speech sounds where monophthongs maintains a fixed tongue position unlike gliding diphthongs. Next question. Who revolutionized modern linguistics by introducing transformational generative grammar and the concept of innate language acquisition? And the answer is Noam Chomsky. Noam Chomsky published Syntactic Structure in 1957, proposing universal grammar and the language acquisition device. Transformational generative grammar distinguishes between surface structure, actual spoken language, sentence, and deep structure, underlying grammatical meaning. Next question. The direct method in English language teaching strictly prohibits the use of which of the following? And the answer is the learner's mother tongue. The direct method or Burley's method mandates teaching of foreign languages exclusively through the target language without translation. This contrasts sharply with the grammar translation method, which relies heavily on language first translation and rote memorization of paradigms. Next question. What figure of speech is exemplified by the phrase, defining silence or parting is such sweet sorrow? And we all know the answer is oxymoron. An oxymoron is a figure of speech joining contradictory terms side by side for rhetorical emphasis or paradox. Distinguished from a larger paradox, an oxymoron specifically juxtaposes two antonymous words, for example, awfully good or jumbo shrimp. Next question. Which type of research focuses on theory building, expanding fundamental knowledge, and exploring abstract principles without immediate practical applications? And the answer is basic, pure, or fundamental research. Basic research aims to enhance human understanding of natural or social phenomena, whereas applied research solves immediate practical problems. In literary studies, theoretical explorations of narratology or deconstruction often stem from fundamental research paradigms. Next question. In literary research methodology, a purely subjective interpretive approach relies primarily on. And the answer is personal intuition, aesthetic response, and hermeneutic evaluation. Subjective approaches embrace the researcher's individual perspective and interpretive stance, contrasting with quantitative objective metrics. Humanities research frequently balances subjective literary appreciation with rigorous objective documentation and historical contextualization. Next question. When a researcher examines first-hand literary texts, original manuscripts, letters, or diaries, what kind of data sources are these classified as? And the answer is primary sources. Primary sources provide direct, unmediated evidence from the time period or author under study. For example, Wordsworth's original 78 work, Lyrical Ballads. Secondary sources analyze, interpret, or critique primary sources, for example, critical biographies or scholarly journal articles. Next question. What tool do modern literary scholars primarily use to manage bibliographic references, format footnotes, and generate accurate citations? And the answer is reference management software, for example, Zotero, Mendeley, and EndNote. ICT tools revolutionize research by automating bibliography, compilation, database searches, Jester, Google Scholar, and plagiarism checks. Information and Communication Technology (ICT) facilitates digital humanities, corpus linguistics, and archival access globally. Next question. How does the MLA 8th edition streamline bibliographic citations for book and journal articles compared to older editions? And the answer is by adopting a universal code element container system applicable to any medium. MLA 8th edition focuses in 9 code elements: author, title of the source, title of container, other contributors, version, number, publisher, publication date, then location. Remember the all elements. These flexible container models accommodates digital sources, websites, and multimedia without rigid medium specific rules. Next question. English belongs to which major language family? And the answer is Indo-European, specifically Germanic branch. English evolved from Western Germanic dialects brought to Britain by Germanic tribes, Anglo-Saxon Jutes in 5th century AD. The history of English is traditionally divided into Old English 450 to 1100, Middle English 1100 to 1500, and Modern English 1500 to present. Next question. In articulatory phonetics, which movable organ of speech is responsible for shaping vowel sounds and contacting various places in the vocal tract? And the answer is the tongue. The tongue is the most flexible active articulator, divided into tip, blade, front, back, and root. Passive articulators, immovable, include the upper teeth, alveolar ridge, and hard palate, whereas active articulators include the tongue and lower lip. Next question. What is an allophone? And the answer is a phonetic variant of a phoneme that does not change meaning in a given language. For example, the aspirated in pin and unaspirated p in spin are allophones of the phoneme p in English. Phonemes are contrastive units tested via minimal pairs like pin versus bin, whereas all allophones are positively conditioned variants. मुझे भी यूजीसी नेट में ये यूनिट काफ़ी बोरिंग लगता था, बट अब थोड़ा ठीक लगता है. आप लोगों को भी लगेगा पढ़ते पढ़ते. Next question. The grammar translation method primarily teaches grammar through which approach? And the answer is deductive approach, memorizing explicit rules and applying themes to translate text. The traditional grammar method focuses on reading literature, translating sentences, and mastering grammar paradigms. While criticized for neglecting oral fluency, it was historically dominant in classical language instructions, Latin, and Greek. Next question. What does ICT stand for in modern educational technology and English language teaching? So easy peasy. Information and Communication Technology. ICT encompasses digital tools, smart classrooms, language lab software, online corpora, and multimedia resources in English language teaching. Modern language teaching integrates blended learning and call computer assisted language learning to enhance learner engagement. Next question. What is the primary difference between a simile and a metaphor? So easy. Similes make explicit comparisons using like or as. Metaphors make implicit comparisons directly. For example, her smile was like the sun. An example of metaphor: her smile was the sun. Both are figurative devices fundamental to poetic imagery and semantic transference. Next question. What is a null hypothesis in research methodology? And the answer is a tentative statement predicting no significant difference or relationship between variables. Researchers test the null hypothesis to determine whether experimental findings are statistically significant or occurred by chance. It contrasts with the alternative hypothesis, which predicts an effect or relationship. Next question. Which research approach relies primarily on textual interpretation, interviews, thematic coding, and narrative analysis rather than numerical statistics? And the answer is qualitative research. Qualitative research explores subjective experiences, meaning, and cultural text, making it predominant in literary and cultural studies. Meanwhile, quantitative research emphasizes measurable data, statistics, and hypothesis testing. Next question. In literary research, what is close reading practical criticism classified as? An analytical method examining formal, linguistic, and thematic elements of a text in detail. Close reading forms the bedrock of literary textual analysis, scrutinizing diction, tone, syntax, and imagery. It ensures that literary arguments are grounded firmly in textual evidence from primary sources. Next question. In MLA 8th edition documentation style, how should entries in the works cited list be ordered? And the answer is alphabetically by author's last name. Works cited entries are alphabetized by author's surname or title if no author is listed, using hanging indents. Proper citation formatting avoids plagiarism and maintains scholarly academic standards across research papers. Next question. Under the Indian Constitution, English holds what official administrative status alongside Hindi? And the answer is associate official language. English serves as a vital bridge language in Indian administration, higher education, judiciary, and commerce. Its historical roots trace back through Macaulay's 1835 Minute on Education, stabilizing English medium instruction in British India. Next question. Consonants like P, B, and M, where both lips come into contact, are classified by place of articulation as? And the answer is bilabial. Bilabial consonants involves both lips, B, 2, labial, lips. Example include P, B, M, and W. Phonetic classification requires identifying place of articulation, matter of articulation, plosive, nasal, fricative, and voicing, voiced or voiceless. Next question. What is the famous Chomskyan example sentence demonstrating that a sentence can be grammatically correct yet completely nonsensical? And the answer is colorless green ideas sleep furiously. Chomsky used this sentence to prove that syntax, grammatical structure, is independent of semantics meaning. It highlighted that narrative speakers recognize grammatical well-formedness regardless of semantic absurdity. Next question. What is the primary goal of communicative language teaching? And the answer is developing communicative competence and real-life interaction skills. It emphasizes emphasizes interaction, functional language use, role play, and meaningful communication over rote grammar drills. and it coined by Delheims. Communicative competence encompasses grammatical, social linguistics, discourse, and strategic competencies. Remember every concept and who coined this term. Next question. What figure of speech attributes human qualities, emotions, or actions to inanimate objects, abstract ideas, or animals? And the answer is personification. For example, Wordsworth's writing, "The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee," personifying daffodils, waves, क्योंकि फूल कभी नाच नहीं सकते. Personification breathes vivid imaginative life into non-human entities across poetry and prose. और ऐसा सिर्फ पोइट्री में ही हो सकता है, रियल लाइफ में नहीं. और ऐसा सिर्फ पोइट ही सोच सकते हैं. Next question. What is the primary purpose of conducting a literature review in academic research? And the answer is to summarize prior scholarly work, identify research gaps, and establish theoretical framework. A literature review contextualizes the current study within existing academic discourse. It demonstrates the researcher's comprehensive grasp of the field and justifies the originality of the proposed thesis. Next question. Which criterion is essential for stabilizing validity and minimizing bias in objective research approaches? Answer. Replicability and verifiable empirical documentary evidence. Objective approach is required, transparent methodology, so other scholars can verify findings and replicate procedures. Rigorous documentation and peer review ensure academic integrity. Next question. In empirical or pedagogical research, such as English language teaching, surveys, questionnaires and structured interviews are used to collect. And the answer is primary empirical data. Surveys and interviews gather first-hand responses from participants, teachers, students, readers for educational and sociological analysis. Data collection instruments must be carefully piloted and validated before wide-scale deployment. Next question. What software tool is widely utilized by universities and researchers to detect unacknowledged text, reuse and plagiarism? ऐसे क्वेश्चंस हमेशा आते हैं यूजीसी नेट में भी और एमपी असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर में भी आएंगे ही, आप देख लेना. एंड द आंसर इज टर्निटिन उरकुंड ओरिजिनलिटी चेक. Plagiarism detection software scans submitted manuscripts against vast global databases of published literature and internet sources. It ensuring academic ethics and proper paraphrasing citation is paramount in postgraduate research. Next question. In MLA in text parenthetical citations, what information is typically required? And the answer is author's last name and page numbers. For example, Wordsworth 45, full stop. If the author's name is in the text, only the page number is enclosed in parentheses, 45. In text citations, point the reader directly to the full biographic entry in the works cited list. Next question. The massive influx of French vocabulary into English following the Norman conquest of what year transformed Middle English? And the answer is 1066. The Battle of Hastings in 1066 brought Norman French rulers, deeply enriching English legal, governmental, culinary, and artistic lexicon. This linguistic dualism created semantic pairs like native swine versus French pork. Next question. What term covers phonetic features extending across segments such as stress, pinch, intonation, and juncture? And the answer is suprasegmentals. Prosodic features. Suprasegmentals modify speech melody and prominence, altering word meaning. For example, noun, import versus verb, import, im or port. Intonation patterns also convey speaker attitude, grammatical mood, statement versus question, and discourse structure. Next question. Noam Chomsky famously distinguished between competence and performance. What does competence refer to? And the answer is the speaker's ideal internal subconscious knowledge of their language system. Competence is idealized grammatical knowledge, whereas performance is actual knowledge, used subject to fatigue, slips of tongue, and memory limits. This distinction revolutionized psycholinguistics and second language acquisition theory. Next question. The audiolingual method of language teaching is heavily rooted in which psychological school of thought? And the answer is behaviorism, habit formation through stimulus response drills. Audiolingual method utilizes mimicry, memorization, and pattern drills to establish automatic language habits influenced by Skinnerian psychology. It emerged predominantly during World War II for rapid military language training. Next question. What is verbal irony? And the answer is when a speaker says one thing but means the exact opposite. Verbal irony relies on tone and context to convey underlying mockery or contradictions. For example, saying, "What lovely weather" during a hurricane. Distinguished from dramatic irony, reader knowledge, and situational irony, unexpected outcomes. Next question. What is a research design? And the answer is the overall blueprint and strategy outlining how data will be collected, measured, and analyzed. A robust research design ensures that the study addresses research questions systematically and validly. Designs vary from experimental and descriptive to historical and comparative. Next question. In literary and philosophical research, what is hermeneutics? And the answer is the theory and methodology of text interpretation and meaning making. Hermeneutics explores how historical, cultural, and psychological contexts shape our understanding of literary text. It bridges subjective reader response with objective textual architecture. Next question. Archival research in literature involves collecting data from which type of repositories? And the answer is libraries, rare manuscript rooms, historical societies, and digital archives. Archival work uncovers unpublished letters, drafts, and historical records essential for biographical and textual scholarship. And the explanation of the answer is modern digital archives, for example, the British Library, Internet Archive, have dramatically expanded global access to primary sources. And the last question is, what is textual editing in literary research? And the answer is comparing historical editions of a text to establish an authoritative scholarly version. Textual bibliography and editing resolve corruptions, authorial revisions, and printed errors across varying editions. Scholarly editions provide critical apparatuses detailing variants across manuscripts and early prints. That's all for today. अगर आपको मेरी वीडियो अच्छी लगी तो प्लीज़ लाइक एंड सब्सक्राइब माई चैनल एंड आप ये वीडियो से देखोगे अपकमिंग एग्ज़ाम में 2-4 क्वेश्चन ज़रूर आएंगे. सो आप बताना कि आपको नेक्स्ट वीडियो कौन से टॉपिक पे चाहिए. तब तक के लिए थैंक यू.